Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us on the second series of Inside Health, a program that has been brought to you by Zambia Association of Gynecologists and Obstetricians, ZAGO. This is a program that focuses on the promotion of sexual reproductive health and rights. And so today we continue with the topic that we started last week. We are looking at the Zambia Prevention of Unsafe Abortions project and the legal framework on termination of pregnancy. And so we'll be getting a closer look at this very important issue. What is considered to be a termination of pregnancy? When does it become unsafe? What are you supposed to do? And what does the law say with regards to this? And so I am your host, Benzum Leamola, and later on the program, we'll also be able to open our phone lines so that you can call us for your questions or contributions. And we've got our expert in the studio in Dr. Whyson Munga, who is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist. Thank you so much for coming through to Inside Health. Let's start by looking at the definition of termination of pregnancy, which is also referred to as miscarriage or abortion.
Thank you very much, Benzo, and also to all our viewers. I think it's good that we are discussing such a topic because there are a lot of information gaps whenever we come to this topic. Mm-hmm. So initially, when a woman falls or a lady falls pregnant, the pregnancy is supposed to naturally continue all the way up to 9 months when the baby is mature. And naturally, there's supposed to be natural labor, and then the baby is born. Okay? Now, any loss of a pregnancy, okay, before a certain age of the pregnancy, the normal, it should go up to 9 months. So the way it is that every country, depending on the facilities they have the ability to make the baby survive after a certain age of the pregnancy. In Zambia, we are able to call a pregnancy like this is a delivery after 28 weeks. So normal, let's use weeks. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is normal pregnancy should be delivered between week 38 and week 40. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, if a pregnancy comes out before 28 weeks, it's a loss, it's a miscarriage, it's an abortion. So any pregnancy that comes out before 28 weeks in our setup, in Japan it's 22 weeks. Mm-hmm. In USA and UK it's 24 weeks. But here, before 28 weeks, we call it a loss. Which terms do we use? It's medically speaking, we call it an abortion. Social acceptable terminology, we call it a miscarriage. Now, a lot of these losses before 28 weeks in our country, they're actually natural. Without anyone doing anything about it, someone is in their office and they start bleeding. Someone is in their sleep and they start bleeding. And they come to the hospital, maybe they are 20 weeks, 16 weeks, and they say, I just noticed spotting, then I'm bleeding, and you find things are coming out. That's a miscarriage. That's an abortion. They can be used interchangeably, except that abortion is not socially acceptable. You understand? Yet there are other miscarriages or abortions again, mm-hmm. whereby someone has a particular reason why they cannot continue with the pregnancy. And they go to seek services to say, we want to get rid of this pregnancy because of reason A, B, C, D. That's where our laws now of the country come in to specify, to say when there are such conditions, they can actually be allowed to terminate the pregnancy. We'll come to that. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are also some medical conditions. Say someone is pregnant. Now, maybe they have an underlying condition, other medical condition, which does not allow someone to carry the stress of life of pregnancy. Otherwise, the woman risks dying. There are such conditions. Again, you find that us now as medical people say to make this, to save life, this pregnancy can't continue, because if you continue with this pregnancy is stress on the body. you'll find that certain conditions will not allow a woman to continue with the pregnancy, or else they perish together. Then the doctors then would say, okay, we are going to terminate this pregnancy because of the condition you have. I think as we go on, I will give some specific examples. So what is termination of pregnancy? So termination of pregnancy is bringing it to a halt, a pregnancy which is growing, but before 28 weeks. Okay? Any loss, it can be natural loss, it can be induced by the healthcare workers. Okay? And sadly, we also have others for their own reasons that are induced in the community, and those are the unsafe ones will also come to that definition, so that we look at the main subject we are looking at. The campaign we have is to prevent unsafe miscarriages, unsafe abortions, unsafe termination of pregnancies, because it can be so devastating.
Okay, so for the sake of our viewers there to know that which one is unsafe and which one is safe, let's get to look at unsafe termination of pregnancy, which tends to be common in these communities.
Thank you very much. So remember, when someone is undergoing a miscarriage or an abortion, it's not as simple as it looks. A lot of things can go wrong. Okay? So what makes a miscarriage or an abortion to be unsafe is, number one, which facility are you using to help you to finish off the process, or even to do the whole process? Are you doing it at a health facility? Or are you doing it at home? Or are you doing it in a shrine? Or are you doing it where? Is it by prayer? Or where? You understand? Eh? Is it in the bedroom? Is it by the auntie's place? So number one, the place which is taking care of you when you're undergoing that process. The place itself, very important. If it's not a health facility, it is unsafe. It doesn't matter.
Even if it's conducted by a doctor?
Even by a doctor, if it is not at a health facility, it is unsafe. Okay? The second component of the unsafe is who is, conducting that procedure to help you. Okay? If it is not a trained health personnel, it is also unsafe. It doesn't matter how many decades you have lived doing that. If you are not a qualified, trained, certified health worker to offer such a service, then it is very unsafe to that person who is procuring the service, because the training is very specific to make them safe. Why then this terminology to say unsafe? Because a lot of things can go wrong. Okay? People use different methods trying to terminate a pregnancy. Others, they are given medicines to drink. Whatever you drink in the mouth, Benzo and the viewers, we will somehow find themselves in the liver and the kidney. Others have come to the hospital because they wanted to terminate, and they were given medicines to drink in whichever form. And all they've come with at the hospital is complete kidney failure, complete liver failure, and we have lost women, whereby these unsafe abortions or miscarriages contribute heavily to the causes of maternal mortality in our country, ranking about number 4 to number 5 causes. It's a serious issue. Even when someone, even the actual procedure to remove the products from the uterus. Remember, the uterus is not, the womb is not an ordinary organ. And it is surrounded by so many other sensitive organs. So others have used the wrong things, wires. They've actually poked and pierced through the uterus, including perforating the intestines. Others have come to the hospitals with the intestines outside from the private parts, poked. And you have, fecal matter coming out, we know, because they are not trained. Okay? Others have ended up poking on the bladder, because the bladder is together with the uterus. They've caused pricks in the bladder, and you find urine is just coming out on its own without any control. So it's a very, very serious issue. That's why if you don't procure it from a health facility, if it is not, you are not assisted by a qualified, trained, certified personnel, then anything can happen to you anytime. Beyond some of the complications I have mentioned, you can even lose your life. That's what makes it unsafe. So what are we promoting in exactly is that when you are having a miscarriage or an abortion, or indeed you intend to abort or to miscarry, do not do it on your own. Go to a health facility, be seen by a health care that is care worker that is qualified, certified, and what. They'll even take you through the steps of counseling. Sometimes people have wanted to terminate pregnancies because of lack of information. And once they go through the process of counseling, they discover that there are actually other alternatives that can facilitate even keeping of the pregnancy. And so many other people have gone home to keep the pregnancies. Yet others, their circumstances fit into the laws of the country, fit into the medical reasons, and they've been helped to get rid of the pregnancy.
All right, let's now talk about what the law says when it comes to termination of pregnancy.
Thank you very much. So the 1972 Termination of Pregnancy Act, the act that we use in Zambia, and it was refined further in 1992-93, is very categorical, okay, that a woman, okay, should be able to terminate a pregnancy under the following reasons. Okay, number one, that the termination of pregnancy shall be done at a gazetted, health facility. Already the law is taking care of the safety. And that it shall be, okay, it shall be done under the agreement of qualified medical personnel. And there the law is very categorical. We even have two categories. It's either there is a qualified obstetrician or gynecologist, or in the absence of a gynecologist, you can have any other doctors, but they have to be 2 or 3 to agree that the reasons really are certain that this has to go on. Again, we are guaranteeing safety. So the safe abortion, the safe miscarriage is still coming in. Number two, on condition that the reason for termination of the pregnancy should be that you are trying to save a mother from medical conditions. I'll give an example. There are some mothers, when they become pregnant, their BPs can rise so much. And beyond the BP, so many things are going wrong in the body. The kidneys are failing, the liver is failing, others may get a stroke, others start fitting, and the pregnancy is still small. On medical reasons, you are saying if this woman continues with this pregnancy, she will die together with her baby inside. But just the removal of the pregnancy relieves the body, and she will recover. Such conditions, then, we use them as medical reasons for interrupting the pregnancy. We call it interrupting the pregnancy. Okay. Then there's also another reason that the law puts, the law of Zambia. For example, these people that are raped or defiled, you understand, eh? They need, because imagine a 12-year comes, or 12-year, 13-year, we have a lot of those. And they've been defiled, and they are pregnant. You are looking now at the wholeness of the situation. This girl is 12. The pregnancy already is a danger to her life. Already she's passed through this trauma. Okay? If the social support around her and the medical teams agree, then you are going to terminate to save the future and the life of that girl. Okay? Then if the continuation of the pregnancy will be of detrimental damage to the health of the woman, and we can match it to what we've already explained, or if the continuation of the pregnancy can affect, okay, the future, the psychological well-being and the future of the existing children, okay, and the mother, that woman who is carrying the pregnancy, and the existing children, again, you may terminate. Okay? The other condition, for example, say a mother is pregnant and then you find that maybe the baby she's carrying has severe abnormalities. Maybe there's no brain in the head. We have such cases, by the way. No brain. Okay? It's so gross. Maybe no legs, no brain, no what, and you're able to see on the ultrasound. You are saying, should this go on up to 9 months only to first to be traumatized, to be carrying something that will not even be viable, that will not live? You understand? So you are saying, you discuss. Maybe by that time you are just about 5 months. And you are saying, look, this is what we have, what you are carrying. So if they decide that let's terminate because of the severe abnormalities of this baby, you can terminate. But the parents have the final say. Others who are willing to go on up to the end. Okay. Now we must not run away. The law is very categorical. It's very protective to make sure that those that need to be terminated to save life of the mother should be assisted. The law is very clear that where assistance is needed, it should be at a health facility and conducted by qualified professionals that are certified using the correct methods and procedures to make it as safe as possible. But we have in our community, and those are of our greatest concern, we have in our community and everywhere in the world, by the way, where people just willfully, okay, just want to terminate the pregnancy. No reason attached. You ask, do you have any reason? You know, I don't just want it. Okay? I don't just want it. Even those should be accepted to come to the health facility and taken through the whole process of comprehensive abortal care and counseling, so that they understand what it is. Ultimately, do you know what happens, Benzu? When a lady says, I want to terminate this pregnancy, if you refuse without following the due process and helping them to understand, they will procure it from a wrong place. And it depends. The same person you were with today, you were trying to reason with why they can have other options of keeping. Then the next week you are on call, she comes, she has bled 3 liters, she's in shock. The same person. You check if they had poked wires, because the facility which could have assisted her to safely do what she wanted to do, even if it was wrong sometimes, you find that now it has gone beyond. She went to secure it where there are no questions, there are no counselings. It's just, oh, you have come, let's start. They don't even know whether the baby is inside the womb or outside. They just start poking. So it's a very sensitive issue, because this will drive us to some other areas of our discussion as to how we can prevent unwanted pregnancies as we work together as communities.
Okay, talking of working together as communities, Doc,
yes.
Has ZAGO, talk to us on how you are working with the churches in the Zambia Prevention of Unsafe Abortions project.
So the issue of abortions or miscarriages is a very cross-cutting issue, meaning that it ranges from being a religious issue to being a moral issue, to being a traditional issue, to being a legal issue, all the aspects of life, you understand that? Psychological issue, it's a social issue, it's everything to do. You cannot tackle issues of abortions in isolations or in silos, no. You need concerted efforts. For example, unwanted pregnancies are there everywhere. You like it or not. By the way, they are even in marriages. The unwanted pregnancies are both in marriages and outside marriages. And unfortunately, very common also amongst the teenagers. And that's another thorny issue. Very complicated. Okay? With so many severe consequences. So when we talk about the concerted efforts, for example, the basic messaging for prevention of unwanted pregnancies have always been for many years. Number one, abstinence. Okay? Abstinence, for example, who can be the champion of the message of abstinence?
The church.
It's the church. Because almost all faiths, be it Christianity, be it Muslim or Hindu or whatever, they meet on a certain, on certain common grounds. You understand? So these are the correct voices to speak about it. Abstinence, for example. If a doctor tells a young lady abstain, I doubt if the weight of the message will be the same if a pastor tells the young ladies to say abstain, or the young guys. So what we have done as ZAGO.
Okay, Doc, just hold your thought. Let's accommodate our caller. Hello, you are through to Inside Health. Uh-oh, we seem to have lost you. Please just try to call us back, and we encourage all our viewers to call us for your questions or contributions with regards to the promotion of safe terminations of pregnancy. We are with Dr. Whyson Munga. Now, Doc, you were talking of how you're working with the church.
Yes. So what we are doing, and it's a work in progress, is that as the Zambia Association of Gynecologists and Obstetricians, we have identified key stakeholders. So where you do stakeholder mapping, right? And we've realized that the church is very cardinal in this campaign. And so the church, for example, can champion the message of abstinence because it will be understood. The church can champion the message of be faithful to one partner because it will be misunderstood. Now remember that you preach abstinence, not everyone will abstain. You will preach be faithful to your partner, and not everyone will be faithful. Then we move to a third level to catch everyone. Those that have failed to be caught by the net of abstain, we tell them, okay, if you are married, be faithful to one partner. Those that fail to be caught by the net of this message, then we say, okay, at least use a condom, or indeed other methods that would prevent unwanted pregnancy, so that at the end of it all, we are preserving the lives of our women. They must not be in danger. Whether you condemn the pregnancy like it was gotten in a wrong way, the issue is they are pregnant. When the pregnancy comes out, it doesn't matter how it was contracted, the process can be dangerous, and we don't want those dangers. Hence, we need to keep it safe. Other key stakeholders, the traditional leaders. Because, for example, a lot of teen pregnancies can have a lot to do with it, traditional beliefs and cultures, where for in other traditions. Okay?
Okay, Doc, let's accommodate our caller. Hello, you're through to Inside Health.
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, thank you. Please go ahead with your question or contribution.
Okay, I want to ask Dr. Munga, you mentioned to say there are some ladies that are pregnant, and you'd find that at some point their BP is usually high, and then they would recommend to
interrupt or to, yes.
Yes. Yes. So I happen to be one of the ladies who usually, when I get pregnant, that particular
condition comes back.
Yes, yes. So this time, as I'm speaking, I'm currently pregnant.
Okay.
But this time, yes, I'm given some BP medication like Mesodopa, something like that.
Yes, and Nifedipine.
Yes. So I was asking, is it just my condition? Because even my first pregnancy was just like that.
Okay.
And my first pregnancy was through inducement.
Okay.
So even I'm scared even this one, maybe it might be the same. So I wanted to find out, is it a condition that I just have, or it's just a type of, something that comes? Because you mentioned to say it affects kidney, and
the liver
the
and
liver.
so on.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm usually stolen, like beyond, I don't know.
Okay.
Everything usually gets stolen. So I wanted to guidance on that one as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
So now
Doc?
that's a very big question, by the way. So not all the raised BPs in pregnancy will lead to that stage where you need to terminate. Remember, the doctors and the healthcare workers will do everything possible. They will give you the BP medications to try and control the BP itself. They will give you everything else, including other supplements, to try and prevent the other complications that may take advantage of the risen BP. Okay, so that's a very special condition. So for others, they can start with high BPs, go up to 9 months. For others, the BPs can come in between, and they can even carry the pregnancy up to the end, with the help, of course, with the tight monitoring at the hospital. But for others, they complicate so much that it will not allow you to reach the end. So for someone with such a history, the background of having a pregnancy, BP rises, she complicates so much, no wonder she's induced, like the pregnancies are terminated, is to save her. So for you, the most important thing is the close monitoring that you do at a facility that has specialists like ourselves. Okay, so that everything we need to do humanly, we should do. Unless it fails, then we say, it is beyond all the interventions and your life is at risk. So it is not the end of the road, Mama. And we thank God for your current pregnancy. We encourage you to be as religious as you can in attending your antenatal and to be seen by appropriate level of care. Okay, and we hope that things can be well for you.
Okay, Doc, let's get back to how you work with different stakeholders. We didn't conclude on the traditional leaders.
Yes, the traditional leaders, they are the custodians of tradition and culture. So in other places, you find when a young girl just reaches puberty, it's like they are ripe for marriage. And puberty nowadays has even gone low. Before it was 14, 15 years. Nowadays, we have pubertal girls that are literally 11, 12 years and so on. So remember that these are still children. It's just the natural changes in the bodies that enable them to start having their menses. When you have engaged the traditional leaders very well, like ZAGO currently, I think the program is expanding to all provinces. It's yielding fruits already, okay? So that our traditional leaders now can help us even to augment the messages of abstain when you are young, go to school. There are some traditional leaders, I'm telling you, they are like sent by God. They have categorically in their kingdoms banned even marriages below a certain age. They have even introduced some form of punitive measures to the parents if the girls don't go to school. You understand? So these are our stakeholders. We have also engaged our, the legal people, the lawmakers, members of parliament, the civic leaders, so that we should do whatever best we can. If it means modifying our law to be in very simple language, to be understood by someone who's selling chitumbua, okay, kwa mgwazo market, let it be. Make it so clear so that people know that actually you can be helped, for example, correctly and safely.
Doc, let me cut you short. Let's accommodate our caller. Hello? You're through to Inside Health. Hello, are you there? Okay, it seems we've lost our caller. And please, when you call us, just make sure that the volume on your TV set is completely low so that we can have a clear conversation without feedback. Okay, Doc, you can proceed.
So the other key stakeholders are the lawmakers, the members of parliaments, and ZAGO has outlined the program so well. Okay, how do the members of parliament, because they are the lawmakers, and they hold a lot of authority in terms of what they contribute to the lawmaking process. They hold a lot of authority in terms of what obtains and the connection they have with the leaders in the constituencies, the civic leaders, the councillors, and so on. So that the message should be very clear. Never go to a wrong place to be assisted with an abortion, whether it started naturally or there was any other reason that made you, go to that route. Go to a health facility and be attended to by people that are qualified. The other key people is the media. Oh, look at you, Venzu. You carry so much power. You carry so much power that in the way that you make your programs, for example, as media people, what is it that you are communicating to the people that when you go to sleep as Venzu and a journalist, you say, I have contributed to God's creation? What message are you understand? Yeah. So when you have such programs like this is working in partnership with the media to increase the awareness, the sensitization. This is just but one of the programs. There are many radio programs, not just in Lusaka, even in other places. Let us not forget the key stakeholder, the youths, the teenagers. ZAGO has so far engaged most of the youth groups, especially in Lusaka, and some on the line of rail.
Let's accommodate our caller. Hello, you're through to Inside Health.
Yes, madam. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, thank you. Please go ahead with your question or contribution.
Yes, what a nice program there, madam.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, now, nazakamba muchivemba sure nachimona kwebati isambu shafula lonomba ndipo kushaba doko kwebati no ifotulamona kichitika mu community nekwe separation no chiresangwa n'abalumendo abaringiye n'abakibire ishingi ni 12 years yoine mulimbwire 13 14 so ngapula abamusikirere point apula fie ishe naena nti aisa na parents babo kusachita kwebati terminate that pregnancy. If it is yes, is it good or not? A question and because namona kwebati to be more than yara bakwati abasana kumiseperecho turemona kuma apushanga namona mukombona. Thank you very much. That's my concern.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So the question, basically, for the sake of those that may not understand Bemba, is that there's a lot of sexual activity out there in the communities, especially in, in the high density areas, where a lot of girls are having sexual activities and they are falling pregnant, and between the ages of 12, 13 and 14. He's asking, is it also right that when such a thing happens that a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl falls pregnant, that they can also come to procure a service of termination of pregnancy? So remember, the law of the country is superior than our community laws. So the law of the country, which is the termination of pregnancy, including the GBV Act, the Gender-Based Whatever Act, is that any sexual activity below the age of 16 is a crime. If the person that impregnates that girl who is below 16 is above 16 themselves, it's a jailable offense.
So is it considered rape even when the girl was interested?
No, that's defilement. So rape is forceful sexual act by force, and that person should be above the age of 16. Nifuna mutimvesese pa no tumfuikishe. Okay, so the cut age is 16. Below 16, there's nothing like they agreed. There's nothing like they were forced. All of them are lumped into defilement. Below 16, there's nothing like she received the sweet. She even says, I agreed. There's nothing like agreeing, being forced, whatever way. It is defilement, and it's a prosecutable offense and very jailable.
So in that instance,
okay, together with those that are mentally disturbed, it doesn't matter whether she's 40 years or 50 years. If they are mentally disturbed, all of them are lumped into defilement because they are not yet put in the category of being mature enough to reason properly. The below 16 is a child. So even if a child accepts, the law doesn't accept that the child accepted. Okay, just like a mentally disturbed person. Above the age of 16, they have the power and the level of understanding to agree or refuse. So above 16, if they agree, then it is not defilement. It is not even rape above 16. Now rape is anything above the age of 16 that is done out of force without the lady agreeing, then it is rape. That's what the law says. Now the question, sir, is if you have a child, they are below 16, they are 12, 13, 14, they fall pregnant, and you as parents, so there are two things there. Number one, make sure that case is reported to the police because it's defilement. Number two, bring that child to the hospital. There are a lot of things that we'll do there. You will be taken through the whole process of legal counseling, psychosocial counseling, and medical counseling. There are others, maybe they have chosen to keep the pregnancies, and we have offered to support all the way. There are others that are not ready from anywhere to start because it was just an unfortunate circumstances of being defiled, and the law allows that they can be assisted if they so choose to terminate, and the parents are involved because akalimwana, you understand, they are still young, 12 years, 13. So the parents together will decide whether we can give it a chance, but she also has a say. Because you know, it's so bad that this girl doesn't even know what a pregnancy is. She'll just be looking at you I'm just not feeling clueless. Okay, and you look at every other circumstance. If everything put together with the parents and the child and you, medical care teams and whatever, and you agree that maybe this one can continue, they continue. But the majority, they are too young that the pregnancy will be detrimental to their health. Then they can be helped to interrupt, and it's backed by the law. You understand? Yeah.
Okay, now, Doc, still on the same issue, let's talk about those, like he mentioned, the concern is that in the communities, if both are below 16, even the boy is below 16. So
the law of the land has got its own ways, because they are all minors, so they are all deemed not to understand. Okay, but I will not dwell much on that. So usually there's the way that the legal process takes care of such, because it's a minor by a minor.
Yes. Okay,
but those older ones, those it's straight. Okay, they are prosecuted straight. So there's a way that the law deals with a minor to a minor issue.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, you're through to Inside Health. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. Please talk to us.
Okay. I just want to find out. My wife was pregnant 13 years ago. Now she's pregnant now. Now I just want to find out what are the complications due to the long time of being pregnant. I just want to find out from the doctor.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. So that's what we call long interdelivery period. So if she delivered well in the other pregnancy, she is likely to deliver well even in this pregnancy. Okay, except that the way she will feel about the pregnancy and the experience may be like she's restarting again. She will not have that, you know. So it's a person, it's your wife is a pregnant woman that needs extra care. Otherwise, she's likely to deliver well if she delivered well in the other pregnancy 13 years ago.
Okay, Doc, let's talk about consent. Even when people come, even as we advocate for safe termination of pregnancies, let's talk about consent. Is it just about, if I'm married, is it just about me coming to you and say, Doc, my BP is high, I think this baby should be out? Do I come alone, or the other side also needs to be considered?
So, and that's where, as a country, sometimes we may need to advance and synchronize issues. For example, the age of consent for sexual activity is said to be 16. But you find that the age of consent for other things in the same pregnancy, again, is raised, say, to 21, for consenting maybe for an operation and so on. Then the other age for consent is 18. We need to synchronize this. It's a very complicated issue. There's no way you tell this girl that you can consent to have sex at 16. She conceives, there's a complication, she needs to go for theater for an operation because of the complication. She can't consent because she's below 18 or she's below 21. You understand? A mismatch in our laws. That need to be corrected. The question you have asked, who has the consenting power? Is it the woman or the partner or the husband? Okay. So the law is very clear. The right is with the woman to consent. But remember that marriage extends this social connection, and if you do not respect it, it has led to problems. So what we usually do, for example, we know that the actual consenting will be done by the woman because it's happening in her body. She's above the age of consent. The condition is with her. If you don't help her, she will die, for example, with the condition. Maybe the husband is even drinking alcohol and busy in a hotel somewhere. He's told that your woman has a severe condition at the hospital. We need to interrupt, or we need to terminate the pregnancy, because if we don't, she will die. He is even laughing with his friends. No, I'll simply go, to the shrine. Don't. When you die, woman, he will marry, or you will marry sooner than later. So it's something that deals with your life. So the law is absolutely, you have the right to sign or consent. But do not do that outside the knowledge of your partners. Do not sideline them, because this has led to divorce and a lot of misunderstanding. So even us, we are careful. Even if it may not be fully part of the law, but we involve the husbands to say, come, this is what we have over your wife. Please, your wife needs it. The pregnancy needs to be, if we don't, there's risk to her life, or maybe other risks. So that after that, remember, after all that process, where are they going to? Home.
Home, yes. Okay, let's accommodate our caller. Hello, you're through to Inside Health.
Hello.
Hello, please go ahead with your question or contribution.
I'm Swade from Chirabombwe.
Talk to us, sir.
My question is going like this. My wife has got about 4 miscarriages. Then how can we help? Because every time she got a pregnancy, when it's reaching 7 months, she have a miscarriage. So we are living in a fear that may her life be in danger, because every time she have BP, when starting from the month of 3 to going up,
4 months
until delivering time.
Usually 4-5 months.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Doc.
So, sir, you are he's in Chirirabombwe.
Yes.
Yeah. I know that Chirirabombwe doesn't have a gynecologist at the facility there, but at the mines in Chirirabombwe, there's a gynecologist. we encourage you, sir, to attend your antenatal at a facility like the Mine Hospital there, where there's one of our colleagues, so that from word go when she conceives, you can be assisted. There are so many causes of miscarriages or abortions. You see now, with the clear definition, it becomes clear. These are people, others want but it comes out. Okay? So what it is that we need to profile and look at what causes these abortions or miscarriages by your wife. Okay? So then the specialist will sit down, analyze, and help you one by one. For example, there are other medications we give that reduce the risk of miscarriages in the future pregnancies, even if you had miscarriages before. And those should be given. Number 2, there are also other miscarriages that as a result of a weak cervix. So you find when we are about 14, 16 weeks, we tie the cervix so that it doesn't open when pressure starts as the pregnancy grows. For example, again, like your specific case where the BP starts rising when you're about 4 or 5 months, and maybe that's what causes the losses or the terminations because of the bad BPs, okay? Even in that, there are other supplements, including some other BP medications which are introduced as early as the first high BP reading is observed. And then you are carried through nicely, and probably even the plan for your delivery would be such that you may not even reach 9 months, but where we feel we are safe, this baby can survive and she can be delivered. We have seen several such cases, sir, and I think by God's grace, please just see a specialist, an obstetrician, and walk the journey through together, and hoping that you can have children going forward.
Okay, Doc has earlier explained about the failure of maintenance among the young people. Is ZAGO placing any premium on the use of contraceptives as a preventive measure?
Yes, so the way I said it's like you are setting up nets. Eh?
Yes.
So the biggest net is abstinence. Let the church preach it. Let the traditional leaders preach it. Let's preach it. As parents, let's preach it. At schools, let's preach it. But those that escape, they can't abstain, or they couldn't. Okay, how do you protect them? It's by contraception.
Yes.
Now, there are many methods of contraception. You can be talking about condoms. You can be talking about the tablets they can drink. You can be talking about loops or whatever they can use. So what it is that there's a very high premium on contraception because it holds a lot of unwanted pregnancies. Now, remember that the majority of people with unwanted pregnancies, they are teenagers. They are young. And when they come to the health facilities, they feel shy. They will be like, someone will tell my mom that I went to the family planning unit. So what we are trying to encourage as ZAGO is a clear-cut message to all our fellow healthy workers or healthcare providers that we should be as friendly as we can to our young population, because if we are not, they will do wrong things, and the consequences will be gross, both in the community and in the country. So we must create youth-friendly corners in the facilities where a youth should be very free to come and pour out their concerns, their desires, even for contraception and so on. You also take advantage to counsel them so that it can even help them to approach life in a much positive and, better way.
Okay, strong message there, Dr. Munga. Thank you so much for your time on Inside Health today. Okay, so this is where we wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for your time and also for your participation. For those that called us, be sure to join us next week, same time, for another insightful program with regards to promoting sexual reproductive health for women. Thank you so much for your time. From me, Wenzum Leamola, it's goodbye for now. Keep watching ZNBC.